Welcome back to the Double S NFL podcast with Sam and Spencer. Today
Okay.
we're doing our power rankings pre-training camp.
All right. We're gonna start it off with the worst team in the NFL as of today. Today is May 25th, recording this, and in my opinion, the worst team in the NFL right now is the Seattle Seahawks, and they were a huge disappointment a year ago. Obviously going 7-10. They did have some injuries with Russell Wilson, but now he's gone. Bobby Wagner's gone, and they're just going into rebuild mode. I did like their draft, however, but with Geno Smith or Drew Luck at quarterback, it's hard to say they'll win more than 4 or 5 games here, and I think they're the worst team in the NFL.
Can't help but disagree. I know they did lose Wilson and Wagner, but they still got a lot of talent. They aren't going to be very good, but
where on that roster do you see talent?
Wide receiver, running back.
They have 2 good receivers, and their depth is probably the worst in football.
I think the Houston Texans are much worse.
That's fair.
I have 5 teams ahead of the Seahawks.
Who do you have at 32?
The Houston Texans.
For what reasons?
They're just not good. They have the worst starting quarterback in the league.
What?
I'm sorry to tell everyone.
You're joking. He was the second best rookie QB last year.
I'm sorry, QB with the least upside. That's what I should say.
The QB with the least upside in the league is Tua.
All right, you stop.
Nah, it's Tua.
All right, moving on. The Houston Texans have the QB with the worst upside in football. They have probably the worst offense in football. They have one of the worst defenses in football.
That I can agree with. They have no talent on that defense. All right.
And I think they win 1 game total.
I think they win 4. All right. Number 31 is Ryan Poles and the Chicago Bears. I'm a Jets fan, so I know how it feels to fail a young quarterback. But when Byron Pringle is your second best receiver, your quarterback's in for a rough year, and that's the case for the Bears offense this year. I expect it to be historically bad, and I feel bad for Fields, honestly. He showed flashes last year, but he's in a rough spot. Terrible O-line, no tight ends, bad receiver core outside of Mooney. I like the run game, but it won't be enough, and the defense lost some key pieces.
Number 30 to 31, I have the Jacksonville Jaguars. Sure, their coaching got better, but they didn't do a lot with their cap space, and they did not have a great draft.
Oh, yeah. We'll get to it when I talk about them, but their draft was not good.
I feel so bad for Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, it's Christian Kirk.
All
right, my number 30 team as of right now is the New York Football Giants, and I want to say one thing here. I think they're on the right track. I love what Joe Schoen and Dable are doing in New York. The O-line looks a little bit better. But my problem with the team is, and has always been, is Daniel Jones.
This is his make or break year.
He wasn't as bad last year, but I still think he's horrible. And with the not so great O-line, even though improved, it'll be a tough season for him. And the defense is very young, so I think it'll face some growing pains. But I think they'll be competitive in some games, and I think they'll have 4 or 5 wins.
They're a 6-win team at best.
Yeah,
I think they will go 5-12. My number 30 is the Atlanta Falcons. Absolutely no talent on defense.
Outside of Terrell.
Outside of AJ Terrell, correct. Deion Jones is okay, but
he's awful. He was the worst linebacker in football last year. One of them.
And their offense is not very good at all. Marcus Mariota is probably the worst starting quarterback in football. Can't you agree?
He's bottom five, but there's like not that many qualities that are so bad about him compared to like the players I have below him.
He was, in my opinion, he was a backup in Vegas for a reason.
I feel like Tennessee kind of failed him, but we'll talk about that another time.
That's a story for another time. I don't disagree with you.
All right. My 29 is the Falcons. Same reasons you said. Only thing is, and it's a big if Desmond Ritter plays like I know he can be, he was my QB2 in the draft. I think they could win 6 or 7 games, but I'm not banking on that. This is still a team with a second-year head coach. A lot of
Let's be
rookies on.
honest. The Falcons did overachieve last year.
Oh yeah, they were not a 7-win team. They reminded me of like the Jets 2 years ago when they went 7-9. They're more like a 4 to 5 win team. And this year, I think they'll be like 4-13 team.
I have them going 3-14.
What
I
do you
also
have?
have this team going 3-14. My number 29 being the Carolina Panthers. Their head coach, terrible. Offense, terrible. Defense, bad.
You know, my 28 team may shock you, but I have Jacksonville, and I'm gonna list some reasons why I could shock you. The reason I think they're gonna be bad is not because of their defense. It's not because of their offense. I think Doug Peterson was a terrible hire, and I'm patient with coaches.
I
But
don't
like,
think you could do much better because
I
Jacksonville
think
completely
it'll be
fucked
better,
up.
but actually, I don't think
Jacksonville
it'll be up
completely fucked
Peterson.
up getting Byron Leftwich.
I feel like their offensive coaching staff as a whole like really won't help Trevor develop all that well. And with those weapons, I don't think it'll be pleasant for Trevor. But I like their defense a lot. I like the direction that's trending in. And I think Trevor has a lot of talent. They could squeeze out a couple more wins than the 5 I'm projecting them to.
At my number 28 is the New York Giants for the same reasons you mentioned. I just want to point out that they have a washed running back.
Thank you. Finally, someone said that. They're gonna move off him after the year.
Yes, they should.
I feel bad for him though. Like he was he's such like I wish he'd work out.
I mean, if he could have stayed healthy and the Giants actually gave him a functioning offensive line.
He could have been great, but he was still the wrong pick at 2 from the beginning.
But who would you have picked instead of him?
At the time, I would have gone with Darnold, but we knew.
But in retrospect, I would have went with Quentin Nelson.
Yeah, that's a good pick.
In my opinion, they should have traded back and got Nelson. Let's say Indianapolis.
Yeah, 6. Yeah,
Or maybe Denver.
All
But
right.
Josh Allen would have been an awful pick at the time. No one would have picked him too at the time.
All right.
Same thing with Lamar Jackson.
My number 27 team is the Houston Texans. And listen, they're not a good football team by any means, but I think Mills, I'm not the highest on Mills, but I think I'm higher than you are on him, and I think he can be a top 25 QB again. Run game's not good. I didn't love the Lovie Smith hire, no pun intended there. The defense is still weak, and like this is a confusing team, but they're a 4-5 win team. But like I wouldn't be shocked if they win 6 or 7.
My number 27 is, where are we? 27?
Yeah, 27.
Mine's the Seattle Seahawks. For same reasons you mentioned it, I just think they're better than what people think they are. They should tank, but I don't think they're good enough to make that happen. They're bad enough to make that happen.
All right. My number 26 team is the Carolina Panthers, and I had them before the draft. I had them as the worst team in football, but we'll talk about why I have them higher, because I think Scott Fitterer, their GM, is doing a terrific job recently. If they had a different coach, they'd be a top 20 team, in my opinion, and they had a different QB. If they had, say, the Sam Darnold that we saw for the first 4 weeks, they'd be a solid football team. But unfortunately, they don't. But I do like.
They gave him his 5th-year option before the season, and that proved to be a mistake.
I'm not high on Corral at all, but he's an upgrade from Darnold nonetheless. The O line.
They won't start him. They won't start him.
The most underrated O line in the league. Bradley Bozeman, they added Austin Corbett, Ikem Ekwonu, Taylor Moton, and Brady Christian. That's a solid O line. Matt Rule, though, he's going to hold the team back big time. And I see this as a 4-5 win team. Defense, I like, though.
My number 26 is the Chicago Bears. I think they're going to do better. They have an easy schedule, easy enough schedule. But I think that they're good enough to win 5 games and sneak out and be okay. They'll be competitive. I think Justin Fields is he's an all right quarterback, and I think he's talented enough to carry the Bears to 5-6 wins.
All right. Now it's where it starts to get a bit interesting. Starting off the top 25, I have the Washington Commanders here. And
I agree with you with this.
Oh, okay. It's not really because of Wentz. It's just like this just feels like a team in a weird spot to me. Like, I think they're more talented than 25, but like I'm not a Ron Rivera fan like I used to be. The defense is a bit overrated. The secondary has some gapping holes to fill. Offensive coaching staff isn't all that. And just I think this team is one of those. I think this team could be the Panthers of last year with a better QB. I think I have them starting at 4-1 and going 2-10 down the stretch.
I have them in a very similar position, but I have them starting 3-3, and then
What do you have them finishing at?
5-12.
5-12. That's fair. All right, now here's where we get to the madness. Coming in at number 24. In his first time coaching career, I believe that this coach will have a losing season. Mike Tomlin, the Pittsburgh Steelers,
Ooh.
and listen,
I like it, but I don't agree.
Kenny Pickett, it was a bad pick. I don't hate Kenny Pickett, but him and Trubisky are just so similar that I think even though I'm not a big Malik Willis guy, selecting him and having him sit a year or two would have been perfect. It's a great situation for him. I love the George Pickens pick, don't get me wrong, but O-line is still very young and weak and it's going to have growing pains. Offensive coordinator Matt Canada was back and he was awful last year. The cornerback room leaves a lot to be desired. And will the linebackers bounce back? We don't know how Devin Bush is going to be. A lot of question marks here, but if they win 9 games, I wouldn't be shocked.
My number 24 is the Detroit Lions. I think they are a much improved team. Don't get me wrong. But I don't think they're good enough to make that jump into like 7-8 wins. I think they're a 5 to 7 win team.
Fair. What team last year do you think they'll be most reminiscent of?
That's a good question. I'd say the 2021 Jets.
It's not a bad comparison.
But there'll be a better record.
All right. Now here's where this team before last year I had this team as like a top 10 team. I thought they'd be great. And then it all came crashing down late in the season. 23 is the Arizona Cardinals for me. Probably my boldest take yet. I think they go 6-11 or 7-10. I think Kyler's a pretty good quarterback. He's not top 10 though.
He's too garbage for them to go 6-11 to me.
What?
I have them inverting that record.
What? You have them going 11-6?
I do.
6-11 just
They'll
because
start like 10-1 and then lose 5 of 6. Just watch.
I think they'll start like 2-5 and then the season will go off from there. But I do think Cardinals fans, saving grace here, I think Cliff gets fired mid-season. And I think the O-line still has a lot of question marks. I don't think Rodney Hudson will play as good as he has in the past. And the defense, in my opinion, is not good. They have Budda Baker, but other than that, like, who really is on that defense? Like, Marco Wilson as your starting cornerback is not a good thing.
My number 23 is the Miami Dolphins. Tua is just not that good. He's a top 25 QB to me. I think he's underrated.
What do
But
you
I don't
like?
think they fired their coach, and I don't think that they're going to be, especially in that AFC. I don't think they're going to be very good. I actually think they'll be last in the AFC East,
Record?
7-10.
All right. My number 22 is the Detroit Line, Dan Campbell squad. I think they won 7-8 games this year, but with a lot of hope for the future. Listen, their season rides on two things. They could be a wild card team if, number one, Jared Goff plays like a top 20 QB, which he did towards the end of the season. The offensive skill positions are loaded there. I love Dan Campbell. The defense has some promising pieces, but Jeff Okudah is a big question mark. He can make or break this team, in my opinion, and there are too many question marks this year, but I think by next year, or at least when Rodgers is retired, I think they'll be the best team in this division. Who do you have at 22?
My number 22 is the New Orleans Saints.
Wow.
My issue with them is at quarterback.
Come on. Like what? 14 touchdowns, 13 picks, improved decision making. I don't know what else you want to see.
But he's coming off a torn ACL. That's what I'm concerned with.
I don't think it's going to impact his decision making that much. He could be a good game manager and win them 10 games.
But I don't think that's going to happen. And we don't know what's going to happen with Alvin Kamara. And we don't know what's going to happen with Michael Thomas. There's a lot of question marks with them.
All right.
So I have them finishing 7-10.
My number 21 is the New England Patriots. Listen, I know Bill Belichick's a great coach, but he's more of a good coach now than a great coach, an awful GM. Their draft was the worst in football, in my opinion. It's a D-grade draft from me. Mac Jones isn't a bad quarterback, but he's not a good one either. He's like average. He kind of peaked already, but he won't hold a team back. He'll win them games, but he won't lose them games. He won't win them games, but he won't lose them games. Offensive skill positions are pretty weak outside of tight ends, and the defense has some glaring holes. Who do you have at 21?
My number 21 is the New York Jets.
All right, I'll take it.
I think that they're going to be a much improved team, but I'm not sure in that AFC if they can really compete yet. I like the Breece Hall pick. Him and Michael Carter should be a really good running back duo.
What do you think on our team will hold us back from being a true contender?
I don't really know if. I think you guys are too young. I think you're a year or two away.
What's your record prediction for us?
7-10.
All right. All right. My number 20 team is the Miami Dolphins for the same reasons you had, except I don't think Flores to McDaniel is much of a downgrade. I think it'll take him time, but I like McDaniel a lot. My issue with the Dolphins lies on the O-line. I'm going to pull up their depth chart for a sec, but it is not pretty outside of Teron Armstead. Like Austin Jackson, if he has to start a game, we're screwed. Robert Hunt isn't great. Liam Eichenberg did not prove much last year. And when you look at that defense, I love Xavier Howard. I like Ogbo a lot. I like Wilkins. But outside of those three, there's not much that inspires me. Maybe Jalen Phillips can make a second-year leap, but I'm not banking on it. Who's your 20?
My 20 is the Minnesota Vikings. I think they're good. I like who'd they get? O'Connell.
They got
Kevin
Booth.
O'Connell.
Yeah, they got Andrew Booth.
I really like their team this season. and I think that they will miss the playoffs to me, but I think they finish 9-8. They finish barely out of the playoffs.
So kind of like last year's Chargers a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah, like Viking fans, they've been so mediocre for so long. Like I really hope if a star QB comes available after next year, the Vikings go after him.
All right.
right.
Who's your
19.
19?
My number 19 is my New York Jets. For the same reasons you had, I think we go around 8 and 9. I think we're the second best team in the East because I feel like we have the most outside of Buffalo. We have the most stability, especially coaching wise. Returning like the same coaches from last year, Zach Wilson. I think he's going to take a second-year leap, be a top 17 quarterback in that range. We're still pretty young, which is why we won't be a playoff team yet, but I think we will be in a few years. Joe Douglas has done a phenomenal job here, and the defense looks much improved too.
All right, my number 19 is the Dallas Cowboys. They got worse to me. They lost Lyle Collins, lost Amari Cooper. They extended Michael Gallup for some reason.
Yeah, that didn't.
They let go of
That
Cedric
did not make
Wilson.
much sense.
Overall, they kind of feel to me like the 2021 Raiders.
2020?
2021.
Oh, they feel like the 2020 Raiders to me.
I have them finishing 10 and 7 and getting the 7th seed.
All right. Another interesting pick here at 18, but I have the Tennessee Titans here. I think they're an 8-win team. And because I think I like Treylon Burks, but he's pretty raw. I don't think he'll be all that great year one. Future, yes, but they're gonna miss AJ Brown a lot, and I don't think Derrick Henry's gonna be what he was before his injury the last 2 years. O-line is getting up there in age. The defense is good, not great, and this is probably a top 5 coach in the league in Mike Vrabel, but the worst offensive coordinator in Todd Downing, and that's just that's gonna hurt the team a bit. And Tannehill is just okay.
My we're on 18.
Yeah.
I have the Pittsburgh Steelers here. Their offense isn't very good. I think Najee has another really good year. I think he improves, but I don't think it's enough for them to get in the playoffs. The defense will carry them to 9 wins.
So you think that streak stays alive?
Yes.
All right. My number 17 team is the Dallas Cowboys, finishing 9 and 8. I like this team's offense and defense a ton. Probably both top 10 units in the league, and without the person who I'm going to talk about, who's Mike McCarthy, they'd be a playoff team. Unfortunately, he's there, and he was brutal down the stretch last year, and he was fired from the Packers for a reason. I think he's gone after the year. I think Dak's still going to be a top 12 QB. I think Pollard has a huge year, and I think in that offense, James Washington really takes off and shows what he could have been in Pittsburgh. Trevon Diggs will face slightly regression, but I don't think he'll give up as many yards, and the D-line is stacked.
My number 17.
Yeah.
17 is the New England Patriots. I think they will improve, but they'll kind of regress at record. I think Mac Jones in the offense gets better. I think their defense kind of takes a little downturn.
Record?
9-8.
What do you think gives them the edge over the Jets and Dolphins?
Coaching.
Yeah, my thing is they didn't bring. There's not a lot of continued like stability there outside of Belichick.
You want to go with your number 17?
Yes. My 16?
Your 16, yes.
My number 16, this might be a little bit low for them, but I have the Philadelphia Eagles here. And They had a great offseason, knocked it out of the park. Jordan Davis pick got some backlash from some scouts like I've seen, but like it's a solid pick. Not A plus, but pretty good. AJ Brown, great pickup there. Gonna help Hurts out a lot. Him and Smith, great duo there. Defense is also better, but they have a whole lot of safety still. And we're just adding Oh, they added Nakobe Dean too. But my biggest issue is Jalen Hurts. I don't think he'll be able to take a third-year leap. And I think they're going to be a pretty average team. I think they win 9-10 games, but they do win the division.
My number 16 is the Denver Broncos. I don't think they will live up to the hype they're getting. They're hyped up as a division winner, where I think they finish last in the AFC West.
For what reasons exactly?
I don't think they're as good as the other teams in their division. And
Yeah,
I think that their record in the division will hurt them to the point where they miss the playoffs, barely missing out 9-8.
I have the Broncos at 15 for the same reasons you said. I have them at 9-8 as well. I think Russ plays great for most of the
Yeah,
year.
Russ will be fine.
But here's what people don't understand. And he was a big reason why Bortles failed. I hated the Nathaniel Hackett hire, probably my least favorite.
Thank you.
Out of all, or up there, yeah,
Thank
for sure.
you.
Yeah, it was not. It was stupid hire. Like I think they did it in the case they were getting Rodgers, but I don't think it'll work out very well. The roster is filled with talent, though. If Jerry Jeudy plays, I think he's gonna have a really good year.
He'll play. He's out. He's already out of prison.
Sutton should bounce back. I like their tight end pick, Greg Dulcich. O-line is fine, and the defense isn't as good as some are making out to be, but it's a pretty good unit.
My number 15 is the San Francisco 49ers. I think that they will have a very similar season to last year. I think that Jimmy Garoppolo will handle primary starting duties.
That would just be stupid.
I don't think Trey Lance is ready yet.
Like, how can you say that about Lance and not about Lawrence, Wilson, and Fields?
Well, there's no one better than them on their team. So
Lance was my QB2 in the 2021 draft, and we'll get to it, but I think he's going to be great. All right.
I think the 49ers go 11-6 and get the 6 seed in the NFC.
My number 14 team in a crowded division. This team, let's see if I have them sneaking in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I had them just missing out on the playoffs, and it's a shame because like my favorite player in the NFL is on this team, and that's Derek Carr, and this team is the Raiders. I just don't like the McDaniels hire. Don't think it'll be terrible, but the defense worries me a bit. Like outside of Max Crosby and Nate Hobbs, like. And I don't love the Chandler Jones signing. He's aging and a regressing player. And the linebackers worry me. Safeties worry me. Corners worry me. The O-line is shaky. Like, I don't get that inspired with this team. 10-7, and they just missed the playoffs.
I have the Arizona Cardinals at 14. I think they're good enough to get into the playoffs again. The NFC's weak as shit. Let's not get it twisted. I think the Cardinals will finish 11-6 and
5 seed.
5 seed, yes, and an ass kicking in the wild card game.
Oh, question: do you think Cliff is fired after the year?
No.
That would be a stupid. My number 13 team is the Indianapolis Colts. I have them winning the South.
I have them at 13 as well.
I have them winning the South at 10-7. I think they stay the same at quarterback, but I think that they're a pretty like balanced overall team. There's not like that much star power, but I think they have like they're slightly above average on both offense and defense, and I think with JT there, as long as he's healthy, they'll be a pretty good team.
What's your number 12?
My number 12 team is the Minnesota Vikings. And I have the Vikings at 12 just because of Kevin O'Connell. I think that man's gonna do wonders for this team. Kirk Cousins is a good, not great QB, but they have a lot of talent to surround him, which I think will inflate his stats quite a bit once again. And the defense, and especially the secondary, is much improved.
My number 12 is the Philadelphia Eagles. I think they'll take a giant step up, especially with the additions they made. Jordan Davis, James Bradbury, Jacoby Dean on their defense, AJ Brown on their offense. I think the Eagles go 12-5 and win their division.
4 seed,
3 seed.
3 seed. My number 11 team is the Cleveland Browns. This is assuming like a 4-game suspension for Watson, 4-6 game. But I think Watson's elite when he plays. Just Brissett's going to be there, and they could start 1-3, which could hurt their season a bit.
The Browns will start Mayfield.
I think he's going to get traded. I think he's going to either hold
I'm
out.
doing these power rankings as if nothing changes and everything will stay the same the entire season.
I think a couple things changed, but not that much. I think Mayfield's going to end up. I think he ends up somewhere like we don't think he's going to end up like Houston, but I don't know.
Do you think Houston will start him?
I do not. I think he'll battle for the starting spot.
Whatever. My number 11 is the Tennessee Titans. I think that they're good enough to win their division. To me, I think Derrick Henry has another great season. I think he'll have another 2,000-yard season. And I think the Titans will finish 11-6 in spite of their quarterback play. And we'll get
you think Tannehill's going to be a good QB?
I think he'll be mid.
Mid. So at
no, I have them going 11-6 and getting the 4 seed. Excuse me, I have them getting the 3 seed.
My number 10 is kicking off the top 10 with the Niners. Trey Lance, I think he's going to be great if he starts, but like, will he start? Like, who knows at this point? It's getting kind of late. It's almost June. Like, they got to make a decision here. The secondary isn't great, and that's probably the biggest weakness on this team. But with a great front seven, great run game, and great coaching, this team should be completely fine, and they'll snag a wild card spot.
With my top 10, I have the Raiders.
Yeah.
For the same reasons that you mentioned, I think they'll be better off. I am going 10-7 and barely missing
out. What do you have them going?
10-7. Barely missing out.
My number 9 team, still a playoff team in the AFC, is the Chiefs. I think Mahomes is still going to be an elite quarterback, top 5, top 3 probably. But I think the defense isn't all that, and I think that's going to hurt the team a bit. But they'll still be a playoff team and quite an explosive offense.
My number 9 is the Baltimore Ravens. I think they're a good team. They have a lot of good players coming back, but I don't know how they're going to gel together. Wink Martindale's gone.
Yeah, he is gone. I forgot about that.
He's now the new Giants defensive coordinator.
All right.
And overall, I think they go 10-7, just sneaking in as the 7th seed.
So you had this team pretty low, but I have the Saints at 8, and I think Winston's going to have an MVP caliber season. I love the Dennis Allen hire, and Chris Olave wasn't a great pick, but he's going to help the team a lot. They outside of center, where Cesar Ruiz has a lot to prove, they don't have any weaknesses on that roster, and I think they'll be a 12-win team and the 5 seed.
My number 8 is the Green Bay Packers. I think they're a good team, but they lost a lot of talent. They lost the best receiver in the NFL. I can't stress you how much that'll hurt the Packers. I think they go 11-6 and get the 4 seed.
My number 7 team is the Green Bay Packers for the same reasons you have them.
My number 7 is the Los Angeles Chargers. They're a good team. They're much improved.
They're loaded with talent.
I think they get the AFC 6 seed, and they are at 11-6.
6 seed. My number 6 team is the Baltimore Ravens. They were 8-3. People seem to forget that when the injuries started to pile up. While it was kind of a fluky 8-3, it was still a solid team. And with John Harbaugh at the helm and with Lamar there, Bateman's going to take a step up, and Marlon Humphrey, Peters, they're fully healthy. I like this team a lot heading into the year. They'll be a top 5 seed.
My number 6 is the Cleveland Browns. And they're a good team. So Deshaun Watson should make an immediate impact. And so should Amari Cooper.
Oh, I love Amari Cooper. He hasn't been talked about enough.
I have them going 11-6 and getting the 5 seed in the AFC.
My number 5 seed right now is the Cincinnati Bengals. People are going to say they're going to regress, but I just don't see it. The main weakness from the team was the O-line, and they solidified it by adding Ted Karras, Alex Kappa, and Lyle Collins. It's not elite, but it's very good in my opinion. 13-4 and the 3 seed for them.
My number 5 is the Cincinnati Bengals for the same reasons you mentioned. 11-6 and 4 seed for me.
The number 14 for me as of right now is the LA Rams. They would be top 2, but I just think they lost a couple pieces this offseason. They did add Troy Hill, Bobby Wagner, and Allen Robinson. Just a matter of if Stafford can stay consistent, limit the mistakes.
My number 4 is the Kansas City Chiefs. I think they are very good once again. I think they have probably one of the best offenses in the NFL. I think they go 13-4 and will be the AFC 2 seed.
My number 3 team is the Buffalo Bills. I did have them at 1, but I decided I'd hold off on that for a bit. They have a rookie cornerback too, and that's where the weakness to stop, honestly. Josh Allen's elite. He's once again great last year. They added James Cook to a kind of weak run game. Diggs, Davis, and now Shakir is a great wide receiver core. O-line is kind of mid, which could concern me a little, but I don't think it's too bad. And the rest of the team is loaded.
My number 3 is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They have a lot of their team back. Their offensive line regressed. This is why I have them at 3.
Yeah, Marpet's gone, Kappa's gone.
And I think they finished 13-4 and are the NFC 1 seed.
All right. My number 2 team is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think they're a 14-win team, the best team in the NFC. The O-line, yes, to concern, but I think they'll be fine with Tom Brady at QB. Defense is still phenomenal, and I like Todd Bowles a lot as their head coach. Who's your 2?
My 2 is Buffalo.
Buffalo. And then the best team in the NFL, in my opinion, is the Los Angeles Chargers. And if we come back to this in 4 months, and I mean in January, and they're mediocre, it wouldn't shock me, but I think they're pretty much the best, the most talented team in the league right now. They're a 14-win team, and I think Herbert's going to win the MVP.
I have the LA Rams at my number 1.
And that
That will wrap it up
conclude-
for this edition. We will see you guys very soon.
All right, take care.
Take care, guys.
All right, I'll see you soon.